Good morning. Assalamu alaikum. Today I was going to go to the Lebanese embassy and to speak to them about my quote presidential case. But going there alone without anybody with me means that they can lie through their teeth without arranging an appointment to meet specific individuals in there. It's not going to be respected as if it were if I had, for say, a human rights lawyer with me or a civil litigations lawyer, publicity lawyer. So it would just mean that I can speak to them face to face as to the crisis that I have before me, and that is my mother is in hospital at the moment and now she needs 24-hour care. And the hold up of the embassy in dealing with what can only be described as a political case with names that go right to the top in Lebanon, in England. I don't understand why the credibility of my case hasn't received any traction until this morning. I was looking at one of the videos of what's his name again, Mimi or Nomi, or some Iranian young face looking interviewer who's interviewing Laith Marouf. And Laith Marouf said that the Minister of Foreign Affairs is part of the Phalange political movement, party, terrorist organisation in Lebanon. And I didn't actually, I knew that he was part of like Samir Zaza or Ismail or something like that, but I didn't know it was the Phalange. And it clicked when he said that the Phalange is well known in Lebanon to have caused the Sabra and Shatila massacre ordered by Ariel Sharon using his proxies, or otherwise known as the Phalange Party, Samir Zaza and the Ismail political party, Sami Ismail. So, fat chance I've got in these, and some of them are convicted terrorists. One of them in particular has killed another prime minister in Lebanon, realised that his family was still alive, went back there and killed them as well, the kids, all of them, and he got put inside. Samir Zaza we're talking about. So the Western-backed political party in Lebanon now has my, quote, presidential case, unquote. And it was quoted that by a Lebanese official called Ali Bannout. What a disgrace to have that name, Ali. So how's that going to impact my case? Well, it's already impacted it because I'm YouTubing still, aren't I?
What do you think's happened?
So what chance have I got when we've got the Phalange as Ministers of Foreign Affairs? What chance has Lebanon got? Forget about me. When they got something like that. But before that, it was handed over to Ambassador Walid Haidar. And Ambassador Walid Haidar had it on his file for a short amount of time while the government were trying to reshuffle. And then they decided to just let it sit on the shelf and feta and rot. So I feel like, as the only son of the family, I can't get to resources that I need to move forward with my presidential case and get accountability, so I can buy myself a vehicle that I can put a wheelchair in it for my mum and dedicate more time helping her. And I've got three sisters who are so wicked that my mum is currently now waiting some kind of care worker. And not having those resources mean it's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. It means that I can't do the very basic things that I want to do. And so today, with regards to Islington Council, they've decided to target me from a different angle now by using extreme measures. They've referred me to a group called the Intensive Unit, Islington Council, where they have. Today I spoke to a lady called Toyin Shukatin from Islington Council, and they're trying to use mental health laws to force me, when I have outstanding matters, including repairs that need resolving, including accountability, that means that they have to resolve. But those enforcements that are pushing Islington Council are affiliated to the police, to MI5 and MI6, and they're communicating with each other to put the situation to put pressure on me in not answering my question, not resolving any of my outstanding matters, and in order to achieve accountability, but to put enforcements to want to allow the mental health powers to deal with me. Now, that could involve eviction as well, although I'm up to date with my rent and always in credit with my rent, and have been on numerous occasions since I moved into the tenancy 2012. I've not gone into arrears, and in fact I've actually claimed money back because I've overpaid on at least 2 occasions. One of them, they tried to hold the money back. It was during the World Cup. I needed that money. It was around that period, and they were playing games, making promises to give it to me and then retracting it. Other people in those departments, senior members in Islington Council, actually applying their terrorism. This is state terrorism. That's what it is. They do it in all forms. They do it in reducing your welfare benefits, of which I found out was evident. They target certain people who speak out. These people that I deem as common purpose, trained, or being directed by people who are trained in common purpose. Islington Council has some ruthless seniors in there, and if they don't behave themselves, I'm going to have to come back on and do podcasts to expose them, because I've already got other podcasts that are out that I can't retweet because of court orders of not mentioning certain things. So I can't retweet them. So I have to do another podcast if my complaint, which I submitted today to Islington Council yesterday, doesn't go through. Now, it's only today that I found out that they are apparently that department has dissolved, is no longer working. And while I was trying to get through to the contact, Toyin's boss, Mr. Horner, Philip Horner, apparently he no longer is in that position. So clearly something is going on. The department is no longer, is dissolved apparently. So what's that all about? What am I telling you here? I'm telling you about the continuation of local government enforcements targeting me from different angles, which are allowing them to have leverage of mental health which after seeing Section 12 psychiatrists recently, but being forced to see one for not even 2 hours, which isn't really a Section 12 psychiatric report, is it? See how they abuse these processes and procedure. Anyway, they found out, contrary to the previous psychiatrist from the consultant psychiatrist from the high category private mental health prison, I am not suffering from delusional disorder. So why am I still in the system? Why? Figure that one out. Because they want to use those leverages. But if you fraudulently have and are using outdated information, meaning information that is old and is no longer valid, then clearly you're committing fraud. This is what's happening with me, a British Lebanese Londoner living in Islington, in a highly Jewish stronghold controlled by Jews. Jews in power I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Jews, your everyday people who all go up and down. We've all got Jewish mates here in London. We're well integrated. You could tell by the way I speak that I'm integrated. When they give you very low benefits, they used to have these crisis funds that people used to refer to and then pay them back, or it goes out of their benefits, or they get grants from the local government to help them, people on welfare. Well, they cut that off. But when they cut that off, what they done was a huge impact across the society, the communities, across the whole of England. Strains on families result in this. Yeah? So in my case, that strain was translated by my brother-in-laws who are educated back home in Lebanon, who don't understand how the reshaping of England is becoming, and they start to throw poison. And that poison goes out to whoever they speak to, be them journalists. And let's face it, my family knows journalists. We're not estranged to journalists. Everybody in Lebanon who watches Jalal Shahda on Al Jazeera TV every fucking day, yeah, that his family, my family know well from long time, decades, from several decades. So information goes out, but yet they all neglect the continuous targeting of me. They all don't believe that I'm being targeted. And then when they realise and only find out through social media that MI5 knocking on my door accusing me of possibly going to be turning radicalised. Why is that? What, because I'm on YouTube and I had about 7,600 people a few days before that view my podcast, over 180,000 view, God knows how much, 240 odd thousand interactions on my podcast just last year within a few months alone. And then they target you. And then when other journalists start to expose how Israel has infiltrated the mental health system, and then I go on the next day and I forward these articles to members of my family, and none of them respond, like the stupid program bitches that they are. Just today I debunked the reason why local council of assigning these units onto me. Intense unit that suddenly has just disappeared now, and the manager of them, after I raised a complaint yesterday about Mr. Horner in Islington Council, raised a complaint to the head of the Democratic Service, the head of the complaints in Islington Council, who herself spoke to me at length and tells me after she found out that Islington Council took my lifetime property and furniture, promised to put it in storage, and went and auctioned it off instead when they were found guilty to make me homeless. She said I deserve accountability. That's the head of Islington Council, head of complaints. And then they don't want to take on processing it, but now it's gone through a complaint. So I've warned them to stop their bringing in mental health enforcements and using them in obtaining some kind of pecuniary advantage in a deceptive and fraudulent and criminal manner. Trying to use laws that don't apply to me based on outdated medical records. So you don't understand that you might be thinking that this is a personal problem that I have. Yeah? It's not. I am a targeted individual. Do you understand? I'm a targeted individual. And it's not a joke. And I'm not happy to say it. After my hunger strike, I come back home and a consultant psychiatrist, Dr. Ormstein, from the National Health Service, comes and visits me, and he sits down on my sofa, and I pull up my laptop and I show him the direct message that I got from President Michel Sleiman asking me for my phone number, and he was talking to me after I spoke to him, messaged him about something. He was following me for decades before Twitter verified him. It wasn't so sure it was him at the time. And he sees the DMs from the president. And he understands why I had done 17 days hunger strike. And he reads a message from a report. He reads a report that was done in Huntercombe Hospital. Huntercombe Hospital is a private high category mental health hospital. Wonder why they sent me over to the other side of fucking London to a private mental health hospital instead of a National Health Service. That's unusual. That's not normal. They clearly had that place there set for certain people. I mean, I don't have a criminal, I'm not a violent person. I'm not known to be violent by the police. And so because of that, I don't understand why high category, but nevertheless, the report that Dr. Ormstein read from Dr. Alcock was with reference to when he was questioning my tweets. So Dr. Alcock questions why I was talking about Palestine and denouncing Israel. This is in 2016 while I was on hunger strike. In the very, very few minutes that I got to be seen by Dr. Alcock in Huntercombe Hospital, high category, private hospital. And he's saying this is not normal. And when the National Health Service doctor read it, and he see the direct messages, and he understood the reason why I was detained in a high category mental health hospital was because I declared that I received a phone call off of Babda Palace, which is to you foreigners, Baghdad Palace is the house of the president in Lebanon. And he see the message and then emailed Dr. Alcock back and told him that I was, quote, not suffering from any psychotic symptom. Can't remember the word he used. Yeah, but I'm not suffering from any psychotic illness or um, have a mental health condition. Words towards that effect. So that letter got written. How political is that? Why is one consultant psychiatrist being political about my freedom of speech on Palestine? And you have to understand, yeah, I'm a known advocate, human rights activist, freedom seeker, anti-war. I've been labelled all these that I've just said, and there's many, many more by the public on X when I had my major account there, British Lebanese. And so that hunger strike is a very important fundamental principal fact for all expats to use and set as an example on the treatment of us Palestinian, Syrian, Lebanese, Libyan, Iranians, Iraqis, Yemenis that have a duty, because it's going to impact us in one way or another. It's going to impact you. Because you're going to have a case, or have had a case, that was probably not as extreme as mine, but as important, certainly important, because it involves big figures: Boris Johnson, George Galloway. Can't mention one of them. Michel Sleiman, President Michel Sleiman, Ambassador Rami Mortada, Ambassador Miss Usayran, Jeremy Corbyn. There's more. There's a lot more. So it's important that you understand that when I got arrested, the charge was dropped because it's impossible that I could have been harassing that person on Twitter, because the person who told me to contact her office was Boris Johnson, who met me personally, shook my hand, wished me happy birthday and Merry Christmas. So you understand well, I'm banned contacting him, but I'm not banned talking about him. So I never done anything that was illegal or wrong or unlawful. But yet my career is shattered. And now, in this crisis situation where I am paralysed from actually helping my mum in a state where she needs 24-hour service now, care, 24-hour care. Where's my accountability? How am I going to get that from a Falange-backed Minister of Foreign Affairs, Youssef Raghi? Am I going to get that case over to him to deal with? It's already with him anyway. He's already got it. He's already seen my videos here. So many leaders in Lebanon. But it falls on deaf ears. But I do believe that informing the public is the right thing to do, because my lawyer told me to, the lawyer that I was forced to employ for the first time in my life to hire, which was a legal aid lawyer, which is one of those free government lawyers, tells me, she specialises with people who do have mental health conditions. She tells me, quote, Sam, I urge you to inform the public of your findings, unquote. That's what the lawyer told me. So what do you say to that? So I kept on asking for medical records, the release notes of Huntercombe Hospital from when I was detained on 17 days hunger strike for a, quote, harassment charge of sending an email, the lowest grade harassment charge possible, which didn't swear, didn't use any profanity whatsoever, wasn't insulting, intimidating. But I do think that she probably got intimidated because I was reaching, every time I tweet at the time, I was reaching over 280,000 people's Twitter accounts, their timelines. It was going in. Lists, I was listed in governmental lists, meticulously made lists that had hundreds of thousands of people following. So when you have a list and you create a name for that list, these government accounts that had many of those lists, each one with tens of thousands of people following, I was listed in all of these. So clearly, I mean, even Yvette Cooper, I believe she wrote an article about me. I read that article and I put that out on social media. They've shut down my account. But when you do checks on local news papers like the Islington Gazette or the Islington Tribunal, you get a lot of error 404 comes up because they have a history of removing stories they don't like. When I was in the mental health hospital, they denied me access to calling anyone. They denied me access to calling friends, family, using the phone. Eventually I got to use a phone. There was a list of contacts that were on it. Samaritans and all these, where they deemed youthful numbers. I was calling all of them. They were wrong numbers. So they give you a list with wrong numbers, outdated numbers to contact. One of the numbers that I remembered was the Lebanese embassy. So I phoned them when they detained me, and I was still on hunger strike. I've been on hunger strike 4 days in the police cell before they took me to a mental health hospital. Bear in mind, I'm a IT professional. You see that star? See that? Best companies to work for. Hewlett Packard. You don't reach that segment of employee just like that. My career's been shattered. So I seek accountability. I lost track of what I was saying. So I seek accountability. In that hospital, I rang up the Lebanese embassy and I told her I'm the one that the president follows, Michel Sleiman. I'm the one that received the phone call off of him. And I would like to speak to Ambassador and I told them that I was detained because I said that I received a phone call off of Babda Palace. The lady transferred me, the receptionist. When I mentioned it, they just put the phone down. This is the Lebanese embassy here in London. Yep, they put the phone down. Why would they do that? They didn't believe it. So I ring again and speak to the receptionist. I rang them several times, telling them what had happened. Is that how an embassy is supposed to react when they have a detainee? I asked them, did the police inform you that I've been detained? They would answer that question. I later found out by Ali Barnout that they didn't. The police never told them. So if the police are not telling the embassy to have their detainees informed, what does a human rights lawyer have to say to that? You tell me. Because these people are professionals. Yeah? These people are people who know what they're doing. They'll be able to debunk it better than I can. I later found out that the Lebanese embassy's role has been violating protocols here in London, and that they are a Zionist-backed Lebanese embassy who have so stuck up staff in there, out of touch with the fucking public. They don't realise that us expats, yeah, we're educated individuals like they are, but we're not brainwashed, yeah, and we're not out of touch with the public. We are the public. And all the toilet rolls that are in their office right now today, that some of them came into work and used, we pay for them. You need to understand that, Lebanon. You need to understand that a government consists of what the people make them. It is the people that create government. It is the people who have power and control, not as it is currently. If it wasn't for us, they couldn't do their jobs. They couldn't get protection. They couldn't get bodyguards like all the British police now have to provide bodyguards in England to all the politicians, bodyguards with shooters, armed. I mean, the role of the embassy is to update us when we ask them questions like, quote, can you tell me if the police had informed you that I've been detained and that I rang to ask to speak to you guys? Did they tell you? They wouldn't answer that. For several years they wouldn't answer it. They wouldn't put it down on paper. Eventually they did, but I recorded it because that's what you have to do with the Lebanese embassy. You can't trust cheating Arabs, can ya? Yeah? So we all want to understand what cheating Arabs are. They are the members of the elite. They are people like Ali Barnout, who tells me that he's proud to lie for his country. Yeah? And that is what I believe elements of part of the problem. If you believe that you could lie, I mean, I'm an honesty is best policy type of person, and my career has allowed me to be the key holder of the last 7 employers that I've worked for concurrently. Can't remember the word consecutively, concurrently. The one that concurrently, I think it is, the one that in a row, each company that I went to work for after in a row had given me access to their stock rooms, their alarms of coming into the building, all their stock. And working in the IT, yeah, you ain't talking about small money here. You're talking about millions, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of IT. I remember at one point one of the vans that I had, the equipment were in there worth at least £2.25 million in it. £2.25 million. Cisco, Sun Microsystems, Hewlett Packard, yeah. Key holder to the last 7 companies, access to their money. Yeah. So this is the segment of professionalism that has been shattered by police and Islington's ruthless. Islington's ruthless. Let's leave it there for now. So we need a lawyer to deal with the mental health side of it, to clear my name so that police aren't able to abuse the law again like they're doing now with Islington Council. Need a lawyer to deal with the housing, local government housing. Need a lawyer to deal with making claims, human rights lawyer, public sector lawyer, civil litigation, criminal cases, appeals. I need to make appeals. There's a lot of money that I'm due back from the police, from the private mental health hospital. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Bless you. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of money. And I need to help my mother as much as I can. I'm dedicated for my mum. I want her to have the best years, what's left of them. And I know that I'm a generous man. I like my sisters. When I receive money, I go to all the places that I owed and I pay them back. That's what I did last year. But there's one person I couldn't pay back, and that was my mum. And there were people there to stop that from happening. 5 pillars were a big factor in stopping me going out and bringing my mum back. She had 3 failed operations. I needed to go out there to deal with it. She was on a wheelchair. So was my other sister. We took her out there in a highly volatile time, stupid fool. The doctors were calling me wanting to have a belly operation for my mum here in London. But no, sister didn't want that to happen. So when my mum goes out to Lebanon, she has 3 failed belly button operations at a terrible time. So I've got this stupid sister who is trained in New York, doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. She thinks she's got it there, but she hasn't. She's the fault of my mum's condition, along with my other sisters who were neglecting my mum. My mum's needs, I was flagging them down and sending them on emails prior to 2016. I even was forced to get Blackford's lawyers, a lawyer called Sefa Mani, to write a letter to say, because my mum relied on a breathing machine as well to breathe, that he deemed that my mother's condition was she needs to have someone that lives with her, or at least gives her 24-hour care. And that was before she fell down and fractured her spine. And what happened? When they ignored my sisters, ignored phone calls, listening to husbands who are fucked up, who probably got mates that have befriended them from the Hariri side or the other political parties. Yeah, yeah. And on the Syrian side as well, because I've got a brother-in-law who's Syrian, and another one who's Lebanese, and another one who's Palestinians. All these backwards, men superior, women inferior attitude. One of them beats my sister up. So clearly I don't get along with these fucking cunts who are more or less interested in the crown that was on the passport of my sisters more than anything else. Let's face it. I am one of those generations who have three sisters and have witnessed all of this happen through all three of them. Sisters are stupid enough to marry idiots, uneducated fucking Arabs. Who are doing everything to stop me earning. And when my mother was out in Lebanon and I wanted to get her the money, I couldn't. Because when she came back, they wouldn't tell me where my mum is. That's the first person I was looking up. Insurance, private medical care insurance for my mum for the rest of her life through when I received that money. That's the first thing I wanted to do, get that. But what you can't do that unless you ask personal, they've got to ask personal questions. The private medical insurance, they need to know information. And when you can't contact your mum because your sisters are stopping it from happening, then you realise that this already targeted black op psyops on me, yeah, from different angles, including 5 pillars, court cases that was delaying me from going out, continuous arrests by police, even after I get bailed, they find other things to arrest me on that I don't get charged of in the end, but they continuously target me. Continuously come around my house, threatening me. Even when I come back from the hunger strike, CID came to my house, and CID's boss, yeah, what's his name? What's that? Can't remember his name now. Came to my house. They wanted to talk to me privately. They could see a British Lebanese, an influencer. They called me an influencer. People, not them particularly, but they see me as an influencer. I heard that through conversations in police cells. They're just trying to spin it off, you know. And I fear for if these enforcements of mental health that they're using, I fear that they might construct and orchestrate a psyop on me, yeah, and end up shooting me, yeah, or arresting me and accusing me for something stupid, I don't know, some extraordinary thing, because they think that I'm a vulnerable person, or they want to try and spin it off as a vulnerable person. Now, they've already tried their tactics, their evil, wicked, repetitive tactics of arresting again and again, even arresting me days after my dad died. Yeah, arrested me days after. And then 1 year down the line, exactly 1 year down the line, that same week, arrested me again. So I understand what targeting is. So they could do anything, but I need a lawyer to remove those outdated medical records that the police are referring to, where they were outdated by Section 12 psychiatrists. Those should be removed, and they shouldn't be acting upon any powers of the legal mental health on me. I've already been told by psychiatrists and consultant psychiatrists that I am not detainable. And even Sergeant has heard directly from psychiatrists who were forced to go to Islington police station when I was arrested, one of the times I was arrested, and I could hear them say, "Look, Sam is not arrestable. Sam is not detainable. That's right. Sam is not detainable." Yeah, and even me asking the hospital, the private mental health hospital, after I come out of 17 days hunger strike, and I was detained for nearly a month. Actually, it was only where I gave up the hunger strike when I actually got to speak to my dad, and he'd found out that I'd been detained, and he came. That was when I ended my hunger strike, because that was the deal. Was I had to allow my family to know that I'd been detained. Do you understand that? There's currently about 400 of you. No, there isn't. Yeah, there's currently about 400 of you on live now. Probably more. I don't know. But it's important that I get this information out, because although I've spoke at length in my other podcasts, some of the other podcasts I can't retweet them out, because there's names of persons that I'm banned from mentioning, and I can't do that. So you understand that whereby a lawyer tells me to, quote, "I urge you to inform the public of your findings," unquote, whereby a lawyer tells me to tell the public, you've got a judge who wants to gag me from mentioning a name. So it's ridiculous. It really is. Yeah. Continuously asking Huntercombe Hospital for my release notes, the reports. And they were continuously reporting it year after year. And I got to ask Anton Gregory in the end, the supposed trainee clinician, or that's how he told me his employ was with Islington Council. That person there eventually helped me eventually write to them. What did I do? While I was writing to them asking for my information, that Dr. Alcock, contacted the crisis team to have me sent back to the mental health hospital again. Why? Because I was asking for the release notes. I wanted to understand what they put down, and he didn't want that to happen. So they detained me, so I go on hunger strike again. But this time, I tell the public before that if I was to ever be subjected on hunger strike again, that I would go on dry hunger strike. And that is exactly what I did. I went on dry hunger strike. I went on 9 days hunger strike. The first 6 days were dry. I won that appeal. Yeah, I won that appeal. I appealed to be released and won that appeal, but the judge gave a date to release me, and the reason why is because they couldn't find no mental health support services that wanted me to be referred to them. Did you hear that? I'll say that again. So when it said in their systems that they after they send people to the mental health, sometimes they refer them to outside organisations that allegedly support them, and so on. Well, all those organisations that they had there, they all refused to want me to be referred to them. So they kept me for 3 days while they find an organisation to refer to them, and they'll release me on that day. Now, they did release me on the day, yeah, but they kept me in again. They kept me in again. The second time, that is. The second time, on the day that they were supposed to release me, they wouldn't release me. This is when the judge told them. This is a judge saying he orders my release. A fucking judge. Do you understand that? Yeah? That's the highest authority in this country. Yeah, in that court. He ordered my release. And even recently, I called up the law firm. Obviously, I got them on the phone. I'm talking to the officials in the hospital. I'm saying you have to release me because that's what the judge said. The law firm are saying that they have to release me. Yeah? The law firm are saying they have to release me. And the law firm can hear it all. So it's recorded. Yeah? So they witnessed live on the phone, albeit, that unlawful act of unlawful imprisonment. Yeah? This is wrong. Yeah? A lawyer better explain that to you in legal jargon. Right? That is just one element. So the doctor used as a leverage to stop me from wanting to claim to receive the release notes of the hospital, and subjected me to the second time on hunger strikes. I want accountability because there was no need. No need. I want accountability on both times I was detained unlawfully. And the judge now is in power to say that if I'm up against any case or whatever, have you been subjected to a mental health hospital? Yeah. And then he'll follow it up, but you've been in again. Do you get it? It's as if that I have frequented a mental health hospital twice in my life. So when they're making their sentence, they'll use that and the law enforcement's in that to subject me to whatever they want to condition me to or detain me. Or crucially, allow me bail. So you have to understand that although I have every confidence in coming out here and telling the public what had happened, I believe it's important that they know about this. And Vanessa Beeley, the independent journalist from UK column, wrote about how the mental health service had been infiltrated by the Israel and Mossad. Ali Abu Nimba once wrote an article about exposing a ex-Unit 8200 who's currently working in Islington Council, or was working in Islington Council. Yeah? You understand? Do you understand that I come from a glass house? شفتوا يا عالم؟ شفتوا؟ فهمتوا اللي بيحكوا من قلبهم؟ فهمتوا يا عالم يا جماعة؟ السلام عليكم. That's my right hand, that is. So لما بنطلب منكم تفهموا ايه عم نطلب منكم تعلوا التيمبو وتخلوا us expats able to be free to help the motherland. But when they've filled your head up with stress problems, yeah, to reduce your ability to target you, to stop you from seeking accountability. When they do that, I can only come over here, social media, and tell the public. لأنه the lawyers here, had they been reliable, I wouldn't be swearing, I wouldn't be calling Yusuf Raghi a cunt. But there comes a point when if you're not doing your job properly, yeah, you have to understand that after a little while, yeah, it won't bow down well. if you're an ambassador and you've got a role to do, yeah, and you put the phone down on me when I'm on hunger strike, yeah, you need to be questioned by a human rights lawyer. Why the fuck don't you answer my questions, Ambassador Rami Mortada? Yeah. Are you watching Mr. President Aoun? Yeah. Because this is about to be one of the first of many that I'll be talking about you, sir. Your fan account on Facebook had agreed to helping me when you become president. 2 years before you was president, I was tweeting to it. You don't want to deal with your responsibilities to us expats? You want to wash your hands from it? You want to talk about we can't intervene? While your ass is intervening in Lebanese politics itself. So I call out to the, not the Hezbollah, but the Shia people out there. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, ya Shia. Ya Shabab. Shabab Baladna. Whether you're Shia, Sunni, Hanafi, Druzi, I care not. But your blood is shed more than our other brothers. I call out to you to understand that as you yourself, expats, spread across the whole country, yeah, you need to understand what unity is. And when we come out on social media and put our faces here, you need to understand what unity means. And you need to collectively help as a community, a Lebanese community across the world. There's 14 million of us. Look at them. They're umming and ahhing about our votes, how they need it, how they need our votes. Yeah. Well, coming up, yeah, coming up to the elections, some of you might understand that my case is worthy of resolving. Even you, Dr. Samir Jaja and Samir Jmayel, even you, yeah, you can't be racist. You can't be racist if you want leadership in the positions that you have. You have to help everybody. And if you don't help everybody or not seem to be helping everybody, well, your political life is up and down. And while there politicians, there are journalists out there sitting around talking of round one and round two, you might not see some of the rounds while you're in those positions. You need to polish up your image in the Arab world, and us expats, yeah, we are equally part of Lebanon, in and outside of it. We represent Lebanon. We need accountability. هذا هو اللي طالب. مش أكتر. نحن من هون عم نشحد. بدنا حقنا. If I had lawyers, I would be here. But you can't just get a lawyer and say, yeah, look, I had a call from the president. You can't do that here. It's not easy. Clearly, my case is political. Yalla, soon I'll make some more videos, all right? It wasn't as informative as I'd like it because I've got things on my mind, and that's what they do. They want to drain you with your thought process so that you could not be able to deal with things. And I don't want my mother to be staying with care workers. Yeah, so I'm calling out to the public to my people of our local communities, Lebanese communities across the world, in Australia, in America, in Germany, in France, in the rest of Europe, all across. I call out to you in Brazil as well. There's a massive community out there. We need to raise awareness of what's happening here by us who speak with openness. The free thinkers out there need to be defended and protected. And you need to start focusing on the real people instead of these journalists like Richard Medhurst and your psychological operations and black ops that get generated from the likes of his case, which are only there to set a precedence of new laws to come out. That's what Richard Medhurst is being used for. I don't trust him. I don't trust any of you journalists out there. I have absolutely no trust in any of you and no belief that you will make things happen. But all I will say is نحن عرضكم. لو كنا نحن in a comfortable position, we could do a lot more. But by you just coming on and watching our YouTubes and doing nothing, it's not going to help, is it really? It's not going to help. It just allows them to have that control. But if the bully gets a slap on the face repetitively, if 5 pillars get collared repetitively in who they are, I'll tell you who they are in a nutshell. They're people who refer us who speak, us anti-Zionists, they're people who refer us to place organisations like Prevent and Channel Purpose. These terrorist organisations are run and paid for and functioned by Israel to target you. It's already out there. It's already out there. That's what these people do in 5 pillars. Aruftu, they done it because they wanted to infiltrate me and my life. Those very same people that I got charged by, they were contacting me, asking me about my fucking 17 days hunger strike. Fahmtu? Roshan Saleh, Robert Carter, Dili Hussein, Mohammed Hijab. This targeting by the terrorists, which you anti-Zionists are quite happy to call them terrorists, but when they come and target me, I have to go down to Trafalgar Square and provide you with a video. Over 8,600 people watching it live while I'm broadcasting, بس to prove to you مشان أرجيكم تشوفوا مين يلي عم يتارجت مي، مين يلي عم يتحداني، مين اللي عم يتحداني. أنا عايز مساعدة يا جماعة في accountability. أنا عايزة وأنا generous man، وأنا عم بطلب مساعدة من العالم على محاميات يساعدوني، وأنا عارف إنه المحاميات موجودين، لبنانيين، سوريين، فلسطينيين، Yemeni, Iranian, Iraqi. If you're out there, this is all about networking. The best form of marketing in the world, as it stands today, is networking. And that's from a top financial organisation I was supporting, stockbrokers and financial advisors when I was at Hewlett Packard. That's the training they were receiving. And that training there was given by world award-winning trainers. That's who I work with. That's who I work for. Yalla, assalamu alaikum.